Navigating the vast expanse of the oceans is a perilous undertaking, made even more daunting by the unpredictable fury of nature. Monster waves, towering behemoths that defy conventional understanding, have claimed countless ships and lives. Surfers, sailors, and thrill-seekers alike are drawn to the challenge of conquering these massive walls of water. However, with great beauty comes great peril, and these waves are not to be underestimated. In this video, we will delve into the remarkable journeys of the top 20 ships that have faced the wrath of monster waves and etched their names in maritime history. Number 20. Military ship in extreme storm. The Leviathan of the Sea, a colossal U.S. Navy destroyer, was locked in a titanic struggle with the wrath of nature. Roaring winds whipped the ocean into a frothing frenzy, and waves that seemed to dwarf the ship itself crashed against its reinforced hull. The destroyer's engines roared, their power barely enough to keep the vessel steady against the relentless onslaught. The crew, battle-hardened veterans, clung to their stations, their faces etched with a grim determination. The ship's radar screen was a blur of green and yellow, each blip representing a towering wave that threatened to swallow them whole. The bridge was awash with the sound of alarms and the shouts of officers, each voice a testament to the chaos unfolding around them. As the storm raged on, the destroyer swayed and pitched, its decks awash with seawater. Yet despite the overwhelming odds, the ship held firm, a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of human engineering. Number 19. Navy boat in too rough sea. The Southern Ocean, notorious for its brutal weather, is the coldest and windiest ocean on the planet, with temperatures ranging from 2 to 10 degrees C and depths plunging to around 7,434 meters. The treacherous latitudes between 50 and 70 degrees south, ominously dubbed the Furious 50s and Shrieking 60s, are notorious for their fierce winds and towering waves, which circle the globe without obstruction. In February 2021, a Navy patrol boat embarked on an intense and perilous training exercise in the unforgiving waters of the Southern Ocean, facing some of the most extreme maritime conditions on Earth. As the vessel navigated through storm-force 12 winds, it was battered by massive waves and powerful gusts, which pushed both the crew and the boat to their limits. These relentless conditions tested the patrol boat's resilience as it was tossed by the enormous waves and blasted by icy winds. Number 18. Fishing boats in dangerous sea. The Gray River, notorious for its swift currents and unpredictable waves, becomes even more perilous during a flood. The river's mouth, where it meets the Tasman Sea, is known as a bar, a shifting, shallow area of water where waves break with tremendous force. On days of full flood, the water is a swirling maelstrom, darkened by silt and debris carried downstream by the swollen river. Two fishing vessels, their hulls etched with the scars of countless voyages, braved the Gray River Bar in full flood. The river, swollen with the aftermath of heavy rains, surged towards the ocean, creating a maelstrom of whitecaps and churning foam. The vessels rise and fall with the waves, their engines straining against the force of the current as they push towards the open sea. The roar of the water, the spray that flies with each impact, and the ever-present risk of capsizing add to the intensity of the moment. The fishermen, clad in waterproof gear, remain focused, their faces etched with concentration as they guide their boats through the chaos. Number 17. Tanker facing monster waves. The North Atlantic, infamous for its unforgiving nature, is a perilous expanse for seafarers, often challenging even the most seasoned crews with its brutal weather and treacherous conditions. On April 29th, a tanker found itself in the grip of one such storm, battling the relentless fury of the North Atlantic. As the ship ventured across the tumultuous waters, it was struck repeatedly by towering waves, each one more menacing than the last, in a scene reminiscent of the harrowing moments depicted in the 2000 film The Perfect Storm. One of the crew members, braving the chaos, managed to capture the terrifying ordeal on video. The footage shows the tanker heaving and pitching amid the turbulent ocean, with massive swells crashing against its hull, while gale-force winds howl through the air, adding to the sense of dread. According to AccuWeather senior meteorologist Tyler Roy's, such storms can produce wind gusts that rival or even exceed hurricane strength, reaching speeds of 74 miles per hour. These ferocious winds drive the sea into a frenzy, creating swells that can tower over 50 feet high, capable of propagating across hundreds of miles of open ocean from eastern Canada to western Europe. Number 16. Cruise ship hits a storm in Mexico. The Voyager of the Seas, a majestic cruise ship known for its luxurious amenities and thrilling adventures, was caught in a fierce storm as it navigated through the treacherous waters of the Gulf of Mexico. The unexpected tempest, characterized by towering waves and howling winds, tested the resilience of both the vessel and its passengers. As the storm intensified, the ship's captain, a seasoned mariner with countless voyages under his belt, made the difficult decision to seek shelter in a nearby port. However, the relentless storm made it impossible to safely dock, forcing the Voyager to weather the tempest at sea. The passengers, initially startled by the sudden onset of the storm, quickly rallied together, comforting one another and following the crew's instructions. The ship's crew and passengers were thrust into a nightmarish situation as the vessel was battered by towering waves that reached heights of over 40 feet. The ship's crew, trained to handle such emergencies, worked tirelessly to maintain the vessel's stability and ensure the safety of everyone on board. Number 15. Ship running out of fuel. In the unforgiving expanse of the Indian Ocean, a tense drama unfolded as a fishing vessel found itself at the mercy of the elements after running out of fuel. The vessel, a sturdy yet vulnerable Indonesian fishing boat, was caught in one of the worst possible scenarios, stranded in the middle of nowhere as massive waves began to pound its hull. With the engine dead and no way to steer, the crew was left adrift in the treacherous seas, their situation growing more desperate by the minute. Fortunately, another Indonesian fishing vessel was nearby, responding to the distress call and arriving just in time to initiate a rescue operation. The towing process, however, was fraught with challenges as both ships battled the heavy seas. Towering waves crashed over the decks, and the strain on the tow lines was immense, but the crew on both vessels demonstrated remarkable skill and determination. After what must have felt like an eternity, they managed to navigate the tumultuous waters and bring both ships safely back to port. Number 14. Huge rogue waves. The sight of the world's biggest container ships navigating through a storm is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. These colossal vessels, often stretching over 400 meters in length and towering above the waterline like floating skyscrapers, are designed to withstand the fiercest forces of nature. Yet, when caught in the midst of a violent storm, even these giants are at the mercy of the elements. Towering waves crash against the steel hull, sending shudders through the entire ship as it rolls and pitches in the turbulent waters. The sheer size and weight of these vessels, laden with thousands of containers stacked high, present unique challenges in such conditions. The containers themselves, often precariously balanced, can shift or even be lost overboard, despite being securely fastened. Crew members, experienced and trained for such scenarios, work tirelessly in the storm, constantly monitoring the ship's stability and making critical adjustments to the course and speed to avoid the worst of the storm's wrath. Number 13. Multiple monster waves hit recuse vessels. On May 24, 2021, in the treacherous waters of the North Sea, an offshore rescue vessel faced the relentless fury of a Force 12 storm, as classified by the Beaufort scale. The storm unleashed colossal waves, aptly termed monster waves, that towered over the vessel, repeatedly smashing against its windows with terrifying force. These waves, fueled by the storm's ferocity, reached heights that defied normal expectations, turning the sea into a chaotic, heaving mass of water. Each wave struck with increasing intensity, testing the vessel's structural integrity and the nerves of those on board. As the storm raged on, the crew could only brace themselves for the impacts, knowing that the next wave could be even more violent than the last. The windows, designed to withstand extreme conditions, were pummeled by the sheer power of the ocean, and each impact sent shudders through the ship. Despite the harrowing circumstances, the crew maintained their resolve, navigating through the perilous conditions with a mixture of skill, caution, and sheer determination. Number 12. A tugboat in a 12 strength. Off the coast of Ouessant, at the tip of Brittany, the seas rage with a ferocity that only the most seasoned mariners can face. In the heart of a storm with winds reaching force 12, where waves tower like mountains, the B. Flanders, one of the most powerful tugboats in the world, battles the elements. This vessel, capable of towing a 550,000-ton tanker even in the most extreme conditions, is a lifeline for ships in distress. On days like January 4th, 1998, when a rogue wave nearly capsized a desperate oil tanker, the crew aboard the B. Flanders confronts the brutal reality of the sea's wrath. These men, who modestly deny any notion of heroism, demonstrate unparalleled skill and courage as they work on the aft deck to secure a tow line, battling not just the elements but the very limits of human endurance. In such treacherous conditions, where the sea is truly disassembled, the line between survival and catastrophe is as thin as a thread, yet these mariners continue their perilous work, embodying the spirit of those who dare to challenge the ocean's fury. Number 11. Ship in North Sea, big waves. A fierce storm raged across the North Sea, churning the waters into a tumultuous frenzy. The ship, a sturdy vessel designed to brave such treacherous conditions, was caught in the heart of the tempest. Waves towered like watery mountains, their crests frothing with the energy of the storm. As the vessel pitched and rolled, a monstrous 100-foot wave appeared on the horizon, a wall of water that seemed to scrape the sky. The crew, seasoned mariners who had seen their fair share of rough seas, braced themselves for the impact. The wave struck with a force that shook the ship to its core, the sound of the collision a deafening roar that drowned out even the howling wind. For a moment, it seemed as though the ship might be swallowed whole by the ocean's fury. But the vessel, built with the resilience to withstand such forces, managed to endure. Number 10. Cargo ship in storm at Kuril Islands. A cargo ship, heavily laden with over 30,000 logs, found itself battling the fierce forces of nature as it navigated the treacherous waters near the Kuril Islands. These islands, known for their rugged beauty and unforgiving weather, presented a formidable challenge to the vessel as it journeyed from the USA to China. The ship, towering with its massive load of timber, was dwarfed by the towering waves that relentlessly pummeled its sides. Each swell threatened to capsize the vessel, forcing the crew into a tense struggle to maintain control and stability. The wind howled through the rigging, and the sky, darkened by the brewing storm, unleashed sheets of rain that lashed the deck, turning it into a slippery, perilous expanse. Despite the dire conditions, the crew remained resolute, knowing that their cargo was precious, bound for the bustling markets of China. The Kuril Islands, with their volatile weather and unpredictable seas, tested the limits of both the ship and its crew as they braved the storm, steering with determination through the relentless fury of the Pacific Ocean. Number 9. Ship in bad weather northwest of England. In December 2011, a ship found itself at the mercy of a powerful storm off the northwest coast of England. The seas were raging with 11 to 12 Beaufort-scale winds, indicating a storm of immense ferocity. Waves towered like walls of water, crashing over the deck with a force that threatened to tear the vessel apart. The crew, seasoned mariners, clung to whatever they could as the ship pitched and rolled in the turbulent waters. The sky was a swirling mass of dark clouds, and visibility was nearly non-existent as the wind howled through the rigging, creating a haunting symphony of creaks and groans. The storm, one of the fiercest of the season, tested the ship's endurance and the crew's resolve. As the hours dragged on, the relentless onslaught of wind and waves battered the vessel, making every moment a fight for survival. The captain, with years of experience navigating such treacherous waters, issued orders with calm precision, guiding the ship through the storm's fury. Number 8. Rough seas. Iceland uncut. Rough seas are an unforgiving force of nature, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the tumultuous waters surrounding Iceland. The terrifying images of fishing boats being battered by 30-foot waves in the North Sea paint a vivid picture of the peril these fishermen endure as they carry out what is often regarded as the most dangerous job in the world. The boats, tossed like toys in the violent swells, are at the mercy of the relentless ocean, where one misstep can lead to disaster. The crew, often soaked to the bone and fighting exhaustion, must remain vigilant, as the unpredictable seas can turn deadly in an instant. This unvarnished glimpse into their world highlights not just the physical dangers of the job, but also the mental fortitude required to face such overwhelming odds. Number 7. Rescue operation for Dutch cargo. In April 2021, the North Sea became a stage for a thrilling maritime drama. The Dutch cargo ship Eemslift Hendrika, laden with yachts, lost power and began drifting dangerously close to the Norwegian coast. With rough seas churning, the 12-member crew faced a desperate situation. A daring helicopter rescue operation plucked them to safety, leaving the vessel to its fate. But the story wasn't over. The abandoned ship, listing heavily and carrying significant fuel reserves, threatened an environmental disaster. A joint Norwegian-Dutch effort swung into action. Salvage experts, braving perilous conditions, boarded the Hendrika and secured towing lines to waiting tugboats. After days of navigating treacherous waters, the battered Eemslift Hendrika was finally brought under control and towed to the port of Ålesund. Number 6. Antarctica warship. The icy expanse of the Southern Ocean, a region notorious for its ferocious storms and colossal waves, claimed center stage in a recent drama involving a valiant warship. Suddenly, a monstrous presence loomed on the horizon. Taller than the ship itself, a wall of emerald water reared up, its crest crowned with frothy malice. Time lurched, compressed into the blink of an eye. With a thunderous roar, the waves slammed into the tempest. In the blink of an eye, the once orderly scene of the warship transformed into a chaotic tableau. Sailors, clinging precariously to handrails and lifelines, were whipped about by the wind and drenched by the icy spray. As the storm's fury abated, slowly, painstakingly, the warship clawed its way back from the brink. Number 5. Russian oil tanker in monster waves. The colossal silhouette of the Siberian Stallion, a Russian oil tanker carved through the churning North Atlantic. But today, the ocean was in no mood to be tamed. The vessel, a formidable titan of maritime engineering, battled against towering waves that seemed to emerge from the very depths of Poseidon's realm. The monster waves, their crests adorned with foaming white crowns, rose and fell with an ominous cadence, threatening to engulf the ship in their aqueous embrace. The crew, seasoned sailors of the unforgiving northern seas, clung to their posts, their faces etched with a combination of determination and trepidation. Against this backdrop of chaos, the Russian oil tanker pressed forward, an emblem of human resilience against the elemental forces that sought to subdue it. Number 4. A passenger cruise liner. In the midst of a turbulent and unforgiving 12-point storm, a passenger cruise liner found itself ensnared in the wrath of the tempestuous sea. The vessel, typically a symbol of luxury and leisure, now battled against towering waves that seemed to defy the very laws of nature. The once serene and expansive ocean transformed into a tumultuous expanse of chaos, with the ship tossed about like a mere plaything in the hands of an angry deity. Inside the cruise liner, the usually elegant and well-appointed cabins now resembled scenes from a maritime nightmare, with furniture careening across cabins, shattering glass, and terrified passengers clinging desperately to anything stable. The captain, a stoic figure at the helm, made split-second decisions that could mean the difference between survival and catastrophe. Number 3. RSQ vessel in North Sea. The RSQ vessel in Storm Gertrude, North Sea, January 2016, was a scene of both immense peril and awe-inspiring resilience. The unnamed vessel, believed to be an emergency response and rescue vessel, battled monstrous waves estimated to reach 30 meters in height as Storm Gertrude raged across the North Sea. Footage captured from the bridge shows the vessel tossed about like a toy in a bathtub. Towering waves crashed down on the deck, sending plumes of spray skyward. The ship groans and creaks under the immense strain, its engines roaring in defiance against the storm's fury. Despite the harrowing conditions, the crew remained calm and professional, expertly maneuvering the vessel to avoid the worst of the waves. Number 2. Oil tanker in hurricane. As the chemical tanker navigates the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, it becomes a maritime behemoth, battling the relentless forces of nature. The undulating waves of the Atlantic, with their rhythmic rise and fall, create a mesmerizing dance that tests the mettle of the vessel and its crew. Once a colossal oil tanker, dwarfed by the towering walls of water surrounding it, was a lone warrior in the maelstrom. Jagged waves, like leviathans rising from the ocean's depths, threatened to engulf the vessel whole. Each monstrous crest, capped with frothy white, seemed intent on snapping the tanker's spine like a twig. Number 1. Bay of Biscay, France. In the tempestuous expanse of the Bay of Biscay, where the Atlantic Ocean asserts its formidable might, a solitary ship battles the relentless fury of of the rough seas. The vessel, a mere speck in the vastness of the tumultuous waters, is tossed and heaved by the capricious waves that rise like mountains only to crash down with an unrestrained force that echoes the power of nature's wrath. The ship, a brave guardian navigating through this nautical battleground, pitches and rolls with each relentless assault. Its crew, undaunted but wearied, cling to the ship's railing with grim determination, their faces etched with a mix of awe and trepidation as they confront the raw power of the Bay of Biscay in all its tempestuous glory. Amidst the tumult, the ship forges ahead, a resilient voyager navigating the tumultuous waters with an indomitable spirit. In closing, I hope you found this video both informative and entertaining. If you enjoyed what you saw something new, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.